Hello and welcome to Stick to FPL, the post-season show, the season review, the show where we all celebrate our amazing ranks that we've all got this season. My name is Dan. I am once again joined by Sim. How are you, mate?
I cannot complain. It's been a brilliant season.
Yeah.
We've absolutely smashed it this year.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. But FPL-wise, yeah, it wasn't great.
It wasn't great. Yeah, so look, we've got to reveal our ranks, which is like, this is a painful one. I can't believe first year doing this podcast, and like, I've had my worst year in 6 years. Not just my worst year, but my worst year by like far. Like 4 times worse than my worst rank in this period of time, which is
also my worst ever season.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, good time to start a podcast. You know, you got to start when you're on top, right?
Yeah.
And then get progressively worse. But yeah, guys, we do appreciate you joining us throughout this year for the podcast. We're going to have a little look at how we finished off, and we're going to have a look at just a little review of the season generally, what we think, and perhaps what we can take from it going forward and apply to subsequent seasons, of which I cannot wait to get stuck into a new season. Like this season for me, I put it behind me weeks ago. I've been checked out. I really have. So yeah, looking forward to getting started again. But where should we start? Shout out to Hub.
If you don't want a season like ours, and you still want to save your season,
save your season after its end.
Yeah. they will get into the Fantasy Football Hub algorithm and change, not Fantasy Football Hub, but the actual FPL algorithm and change your rank post-season.
Yeah?
If you... No,
you go to the Hub website.
For legal reasons, we cannot say that. But.
No, but you could go to the Hub website because it shows you all of your rank and stuff like that. It gives you a nice season review. And what you can do is, if you're on browser, you go right-click, inspect, and then you can manually edit the words on the screen. So, you could modify your rank in that sense.
Can you not do that with the standard Premier League website?
Oh, you could do that as well.
So surely you go there.
No, go to Hub.
Go to Hub.
I'd say go to Hub. Yeah,
pay for the privilege.
Yeah, exactly. But no, massive shout out to Hub for supporting this podcast all season. They've been absolute legends to support, a new project and stuff like that. Very brave of them to go in and do that, and their support has been massively appreciated throughout the season. So yeah, big shout out to them. And of course, we got a couple of displays from Hub as well, which I thought were really useful. They do a really nice season review. We're going to show our Hub season reviews, which is pretty cool. So can we get my team out of the way? Can we just get it done?
Are you sure?
Kind of just want to get this out the way as quick as possible.
The thing was, you weren't having a good last few game weeks, but you were.
I was on 5 consecutive green arrows.
But game week 38 was so brutal to you. I mean, this is horror. 41 points.
Yeah. 41 points. Obviously, I've been taking -4s every week just because, I'm just trying to have some fun with it. But, like, you look at this team, this is a really good team. Like, I don't even know. It's basically the exact players that I wanted for this game week, maybe minus a couple of players. But, yeah, I'm in utter disbelief that there's just 3 attacking returns in this entire squad. And the most frustrating thing is I was on Bowen captain all week. I even said in the pod, the Game Week 38 pod, yeah, Bowen is the captain I'm looking at right now. I really, really like the look of him. So I was close to going through, but then it got towards the Game Week 38 deadline, and I thought it was the De Bruyne was leaked to be out, and everyone started transferring De Bruyne to Bowen. And I thought, look, I got nothing to lose here. Well, so I thought. I never thought it would go this wrong. But I thought, look, a lot of people are going for Bowen now. Maybe we can try and do something a little bit different. Luis Diaz looks good. He had a couple of good chances, but obviously it wasn't to be. Obviously, Liverpool got the red card. Luis Diaz was sacrificed as a result of that. And the rest is history. So somehow a 77,000 place red arrow. If anyone had a bad game week 38, I hope this makes you feel a little bit better about yourself, because it was pretty much summed up my season, to be honest. Like, I don't know.
Do you want something to make you feel a little bit better?
Go on.
Do you know Ashley from FPL Juice?
Yes.
He had a worse game week than you.
Really?
Yeah, he took a -8. His points start with a 3.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I wasn't far off that, to be fair. But no, that is pretty bad. So yeah, I don't know how I've done it. To be fair, I won my local mini league cup.
Congratulations.
Yes.
And that's all that matters, to be honest.
It does. And that's, to be fair, that's got 30 people in it. There's some good FPL managers in there. Somehow, with a score of 41 points, managed to win that cup. So there are some people doing worse than me, clearly.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that really is. Yeah, maybe lucked out a bit on that front. But hey, we all got our different aims. And at the start of the season, the one thing I said was, I don't care about anything else. As long as I win my local mini league cup, that is what I want to do. And we succeeded. So, rough one for me.
Yeah.
Really a rough one. Just want to put this season behind me, to be honest.
Do you reckon you delete your team?
I don't think I'll go quite that far.
Get this off the record, burn it, purge it.
Yeah.
Start from scratch.
No.
Rebrand, make a new name.
New account. Get plastic surgery as well.
Start FPL content again from scratch.
Has anyone got an account I can buy, actually? Who's got a better 2024-25 season than me.
Oh, that's
Might
funny.
be better on the record, but yeah, there you go. Let's have a look at my season. And I think this is kind of one of the most depressing ranks across the season that you can possibly have in an FPL season. This is from Hub, so this is the tool I was talking about, where you can check out how you did week by week. So obviously, I think like a lot of people, you start off with a rank maybe in the millions, creep up into the top 1 million. First wildcard hits when you've got a bit of information, you get that nice little rank boost, which is exactly what happened for me. And then after my wild card, which was at game week 12, I believe, my rank barely changed. I was pinging around between 100k to, I guess, 400k for every single week since game week 12. So there was no progress being made at any point. And I kind of got to around game week 28, 29. And my season didn't really seem to be going anywhere, so I just started hammering differentials, because I think it's difficult when you're having a season you're not happy with. You can either settle with what you've got and maybe rely on only catching up with people who are making objectively bad decisions, or you could try and bet against people who are making good decisions with maybe some differentials. So, maybe there's two players out there, like, for example, a decision I made was double Newcastle defence versus double Newcastle attack. And in my instance, it was basically Murphy versus Trippier. And I thought, yes, I appreciate that Murphy is probably the better pick. But maybe I've got a 40% chance, something like that, of my way doing a little bit better. So you're not going optimal. You're aware that you're not going for the best possible players. But you think, I'm giving myself a chance of beating the crowd here. Of course, it seemed this season in particular that, and this strategy works sometimes. This has worked for me before, doing this exact strategy, just going for the 40-45% player rather than the 50-60% player. So people will look at this and they'll say it's a bad decision. It is a bad decision, but I don't think it is as bad as these kind of decisions have actually played out to be.
Well, it doesn't look like your decisions were even that bad, because you didn't tank.
No.
You were just losing everything you gained.
Yeah.
So you didn't, except for that run right at the end, you don't really consistently climb at any point.
No. There was quite a few swings I lost out. I have documented my swings. Yeah, very nice. This is in preparation for a video I need to do for FPL Mate, but I'm just dreading it. I didn't even check my final rank until today, by the way. I've just been dreading this so much.
Oh, fair enough.
So Trippier versus Murphy on the wild card in game week 31 was a 19-point swing over 2-3 game weeks. We've got selling Wood or Jackson in game week 24, which was the week where Wood scored a hat-trick the week after. It's a 16-point swing there.
That was a bad decision.
Yeah, that probably was a bad decision, to be fair.
But
the swing is disproportionate.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is what I'm saying. I accept a lot of the decisions are objectively bad, trying to go a bit different, but We got like the assistant manager picking the wrong guy there, triple captaining on the wrong week.
That wasn't a bad decision though. Like a lot of players went for slot
Maybe
because
it looked sensible,
more likely to get the points.
Yeah. And the triple captain on Haaland for that Southampton game where he scored 6 points compared to what was
Ipswich game week 2.
Yeah, that's the one you did, right? But like a lot of people triple captain Salah in game week 24 as well.
Yeah,
that was 29 points versus 6. Again, that's a 23-point swing there. Even like early on in the season, like I had a last-minute decision of game week 1, Muniz versus Wood. I went for Muniz, and that was a 22-point swing over like the few game weeks. Like I could go on and on. I'll save the rest of them for the video, but there's like maybe 15 different swings that because I started documenting them like 15 game weeks ago. Whenever I had a 50-50 decision, I'd write it down to see if I gained or lost. But obviously, you're never going to get everything right. But if I did get every one of my, like, I don't want to say 50-50 decisions, but what decisions I could have gone one way or the other, 250 points difference. Now, it's never going to go every way your way, but even if I get half of those right, that's still 125 points that I could have had that maybe didn't.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Listen, you'll be okay. A lot of really good managers got some pretty bad ranks this year. But it's one of those years. It happens to the best of us. There was a bit of a points vacuum in Mo Salah. So if you didn't absolutely go for it every week with Salah, you were kind of in trouble to start off with.
Yeah.
I was very, very much in the camp of gamble against Salah as much as you can. Up until the last 10 game weeks of the season, when again I continued to gamble against Salah for the entire time before that, I got absolutely nailed every single week. So I mean, I must have lost 80 points just on like captaincy to the guy.
Yep.
But shall we take a look at my one?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
So I got 53 points in game week 38, and a red arrow also down from 299 to 320k. My transfers were actually pretty good. I bought Semenyo.
Very nice.
Sold De Bruyne. I sold who was my striker? Mateta for Evanilson. So 2 relatively decent moves. I wanted to gamble against the Bowen move as well. So that's why I went for Semenyo. I was never really considering captaining Semenyo, so I'm not going to sort of pretend like that was even a possibility. The only other player I probably could have thought about was going to be Watkins or Haaland. And neither of those would have brought me much more joy. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I felt like I had a decent team that done a decent amount of points, and I'm not quite sure why I've got a red arrow, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
it's captaincy, I think, because so many people were on Salah or Bowen, who obviously both, got the points.
But I've got Semenyo 16-pointer, and he's very differential, and I thought he would have offset the points loss. But
maybe because Bowen captain is to get 26 points from Bowen alone.
Yeah.
Like if they captained him as well, and Salah, I don't know how many points did Salah end up with? 10. Yeah, managed to sneak into triple bonus as he always does, with his first open play goal since January.
Yeah,
and so that's 20 points for if you have Salah and captained him as well. So you got Bowen captainers and Salah captainers scoring a lot of points against you. So even Semenyo wasn't quite enough to pull you up, which is it's captain. That's the difference.
What they should do is at the end of the season, any money left in the bank gets turned into points. But so if you have like 5 million left in the bank at the end of the season, you get 50 points.
No, that's such a stupid idea.
I think that's a brilliant idea. And if that was the case, I'd have finished top 10k.
Would you really?
Probably. I had loads of money in the bank.
Well, like 5 million in the bank, something like that.
I must have more.
Really?
I must have more. Because I sold De Bruyne and I bought Semenyo. And I already had like 3 or 4 in the bank.
Oh, and you sold downgraded Mateta to Evanilson as well.
Yeah.
So you would have been on like 10 million in the bank.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
But let's take a look at how my season went. And you know what? I'm relatively okay with how my season went. I think where things went wrong for me was from game week 2 to game week 15-ish. That's when I had the most damage done to me. I obviously started off really well with the triple captaincy in game week 2. My highest rank was in game week 2. 189k. I've never gone back to that. But you see that fall off like immediately. and quite aggressive. I hit 2 million by the time I wildcarded in Game Week 10, or Game Week 11, I should say. But yeah, with the wildcard, made a good recovery and then fell off again. Assistant manager, I think, really helped prop up my season. And then after that, it's kind of been a relatively good push, but just not strong enough, particularly in the last 4 game weeks. The last 4 game weeks, I've had, one green arrow in that run, it looks like. So...
looks like you kind of plateaued at the end.
Yeah, right at the wrong time, which is, I mean, normally I move a lot towards the end. But I feel like some of the chip strategy really went well for me, but I think some very obvious decisions, I try to be too smart sometimes, and I will make a bad decision, just because. And I think there's been plenty of those. I went Gordon instead of instead of Murphy or Barnes or Trippier, thinking Gordon would be back and I'd be ahead of the pile. I gambled against Salah so many times and got absolutely wrecked so many times. I've done some crazy stuff. But the one thing that you can't take away from me, I played Rodgers basically every single week this season. And I've owned him the entire year.
So you didn't get the bench Rodgers punishment?
No. Well, I benched him once and he came into my team.
Oh, you got the auto sub.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an achievement in itself, trying to avoid the Rodgers curse of the bench that he had a lot of times this season.
Yeah. When in doubt, play Rodgers, and I was in doubt a lot.
There you go.
but other than that, I mean, it's decent. Like, I think I peaked towards the end, not counting the triple captain, which obviously is a little bit misleading because it is game week 2. But outside of that, it's just I got killed in the first 15 game weeks of the season, basically. I think my season kind of got screwed over at that point, and I didn't do enough to bring it back. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, look, it's a nice-ish trajectory of rank. If you take it from, what is that, game week 10 onwards?
Yeah.
I think it looks like game week 10, so the week you wildcarded, which looks like game week 10, it's generally speaking, you're going up. There's 2 dips there, really, 2 like significant dips.
But those are big dips.
They are.
They are big dips.
They are.
And they don't happen, and you're talking about a top 100k season.
That is quite crazy because those dips are significant. You drop like 500k rank in game week 19-20.
It's Salah.
And that was the reason is because Salah obviously banged that week.
Yeah, those big dips are, I've gambled against Salah and he's put up like 25 points. And I've gone for like a 2-point captain. Like that's the only reason for some of the crazy dips. Because other than that, there's not really been big players that have hurt me. Well, no big players have done amazing this season to hurt you, to be honest.
No. Would you want to have a look at the top scoring players this season?
Yep.
So usually we'll see, I don't know, maybe like 10 or so players score 200 points or more. But this season it was really Salah hoovered up pretty much all of the available points for all players this entire season. It was quite surprising to see
the likes of Cole Palmer being third, having had a absolutely horror season.
Yeah.
It's
really surprising. I mean, Mbeumo was nice and consistent as well. He was a good FPL asset. Isak was inconsistent at times. But to have just 5 players above 200 points, it's quite surprising. There was not really many points up for grabs generally this season.
There's not been many players who have had good seasons, full stop, I think. Outside of Salah, who just ripped everything apart, and Mbeumo, who's had a brilliant personal season. I wouldn't say Palmer, Isak have had good seasons. I think Isak's been okay.
Yeah.
I would argue Palmer's been underwhelming, given how well he did last year. And Chris Wood has had a brilliant season, but Bowen's not been great this season.
But he's been consistent.
Yeah. Watkins has not been great at all. Visser's been decent. Luis Diaz, completely inconsistent. Haaland, seeing him under 200 points is just crazy.
Yeah.
Despite the injury. I mean,
there's a few surprises on here. There really is.
It's very crazy. And I think this is the challenge, right? Particularly for people who play FPL the way I do, where it's, I'm going to try to bet against some of the bigger guys. There wasn't much to be had elsewhere, which was what really hurt a lot of people.
like if you want to go for a Foden instead of a Salah or a Son instead of a
Exactly.
Palmer or something like that.
Some of the most expensive players are not even on this list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a cold world.
Yeah, so there's just 3 premium players. Really, if I don't think we're counting Isak as a premium player. Started the season at 8.5. We're looking at even like 9.5 plus players. There's 3 in this entire list of top scoring players. So there's a real dearth. And what is also kind of interesting this season is that a lot of the players you see, and I think this is another one of my failings this year, because I definitely entered this season with the idea that I would try and basically use the same strategy as the guy who won FPL last year, Jonas, who we met at the weekend at the FPL meetup, which was pretty cool. His strategy last year was to play a very much data-based game, but trying to pick data-backed differential players. He also had a pretty shocking season this year. So he's gone from first in the world to several 100,000 in the world instantly because... And I think I was speaking to FPL Fran, who has been on the show a couple of times in the last month. He is also a heavy data-based FPL manager. He's not happy with his season either.
He's not had a good season at all.
And he kind of said, this is all of the data-based FPL managers have had poor seasons because there has been so many players who were so surprising in how their output on the field was no correlation with their data whatsoever. We're looking at players like Chris Wood, who's like 10 goals above XG, which hardly ever happens in world football. Like, you know, this is like such a rare thing to happen. Cunha did the same thing. He's, you know, way above. Who else? Bowen is significantly above his data. Even Salah, 24 XG over the season, 29 goals. He had 9 expected assists, but 18 assists. So we're looking at players who are crazy overperforming their numbers in a way that they haven't done in the past. And you know, database managers, they're not stupid. They will see certain players like Heung-min Son, for example. They'll know this player will overperform their data. They're a historically good finisher. People will say Salah is a great finisher, but he's a player who tracks about the same as his data year on year. Cunha, Wood, these are not players who are, you know, the most clinical players in world football, and yet this season they were. So I think that went against a lot of database managers. And at the weekend, I was speaking to a few people who had good seasons, and they all said the same thing. Just keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Who scored well last week? Pick them. Who's scoring goals at the moment? Who seems to be in good form? Why spend, you know, a load of time checking out what kind of players you can buy when you could just go on the FPL website, order by form, and bring in the top one, and they will more often than not score points the next week. And that kind of has been the way the season's played out, which is, you know, probably not good when we're trying to, you know, create content for an FPL podcast where it's been that simple. But I don't know. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think frustrating is the only way I can put it. You're absolutely right in that a lot of the players who shouldn't have been doing well were doing well. I feel like that happens in a lot of seasons. I think maybe you're right in saying that it's happened more so than it has this year. But I think you're also right in that a lot of the more sort of obvious template-y moves did relatively well. And a lot of those players, for example, just trust Salah, just trust Mbeumo, they did really well. So I think there's definitely truth in it. But for me, it's just been about the other people who haven't. Like, it's all well and good if the template does well, so long as something else does well.
Yeah, so it can nearly match it.
Yeah, but there hasn't been somewhere else. There hasn't been many other places to land. And what you see, the top 5 points are over 30% selected, which, like, in actual selected numbers, that's quite high.
Yeah, particularly if you go to engaged managers.
I mean, in engaged managers outside of Palmer, those players are probably in almost all teams except for probably Wood.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a tough season, but It's always next year.
Yeah, I think it's been a tough season for differential managers. I think a lot of people would have done well. A lot of people, and this it sounds a little bit like we're making excuses here, but actually, I think if there's some self-reflection on here, there's no doubt that both you and me, maybe in slightly different ways, were overthinking it and trying to do something different and trying to, I don't know, kind of beat the template in many ways. But at the end of the day, template is template for a reason. There's a reason why these players are template, and we overthought it and came up short.
It might seem like a bit of a cop-out as well, yeah, but I think I enjoy having good seasons when I play the way I do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much more satisfying.
You know what I mean? Like, you've got you got a couple of really good ranks in the record. I've got one really good rank in the record, and those seasons, I've got some really good calls in there that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
And, like, that gives me enjoyment.
Yeah.
And I can live with a couple 200, 300, maybe not anymore. But
Yeah.
I can live with two bad seasons so long as I have a good one next year.
Yeah, it's true. It is. I think that is so satisfying, and I think, but maybe this is a thing of the past. Those days of being able to call that differential who does really well. Maybe that is a thing of the past because content is so available right now, and the differentials become like a thinner and thinner pool of player each year. And is it a case of we just need to adapt going forward and just join the crowds and maybe tone it down a little bit?
I will much rather have another really, really bad season and then another really bad season and then nail one.
Really?
Than to start playing differential. To start playing template. That's just, my soul would not be able to coexist with me. I would feel horrible.
It's one of those things. If you are a differential manager, you probably have 4 like average to bad ranks, and then you'll just get that one beautiful like top 1k, top 2k, whatever. Is it worth it though?
For me, yeah.
Yeah? I think people, like, particularly when they're consuming FPL content, they value consistency more than they value, like, on a personal level. Like, the guy, Max, FPL Northern, who was #1 in FPL, like, for a while this season and, gained a little bit of following on Twitter. He posted a poll over the weekend. Basically, it said, what would you rather have? 1 top 10 finish or 10 top 50k finishes? Now, as an individual playing FPL, you take the top 10 finish every time, and 75% voted for that. But I think if you're a content creator, the 10 top 50k finishes are so much that gives people confidence to follow you, kind of thing.
Yeah, but
and I think that's definitely something I'm wrestling with right now.
I would argue that 10 top 50k finishes, particularly if they're all outside the top 10k, isn't actually impressive.
No?
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't find that very impressive.
Well, I've already got my 243 rank. I've done it.
There you go.
That's done now.
Have you got another top 10k?
No, I don't.
So you need to get another top 10k.
But it might take years to get another top 10k playing in this way. It might take another couple of years.
Yeah.
Do I have time?
It's a lot easier to get a top 10k playing template.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Like, top 10k, I feel like if you're very sensible, and like some of the best managers, like Ben Crellin, very sensible manager.
But I don't know if I agree with that. Ben Crellin does make some, and I track Ben Crellin's moves. Like, don't necessarily like copy him or anything like that. Well, obviously, otherwise I'd have a very good rank this year. But I know he does go off template more often than you'd think. And I think that, look, I don't want to name drop people who are template managers, but people who follow FPL content will know who the template managers are.
Lay Riser.
Definitely not him. Definitely not him. But no, template managers obviously smashed it this year, but I think it's not just about that. You do need to have a little bit of, just a tiny bit of spice, a tiny bit of luck there if you want to push to the top 10,000. And, you also need luck, like, let's be real. If you're going to get an unreal rank, you need a lot of luck on your side, which we've both experienced in the past and maybe not so much this year. But I think, template, if you play template, you finish top 50,000 every single year. You don't even need to think. But is that boring?
It is so boring.
Is it boring?
Yeah.
That's the big discussion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it boring playing template? So you're not changing your game style at all next year?
Unlikely.
Unlikely. I'm really thinking about it.
I might not do some of the more, I'm going to call them stupid.
Yeah, okay.
I might not do some of the more stupid moves. But no, it's almost. It'll be very likely that I'll still look at something and decide to do the more differential move for the simple fact that it's differential.
Yeah. Well, any time it's a 50-50, I'll always choose a differential. Every time. But maybe it's about weighting up, is it actually a 50-50? Or do you want it to be a 50-50 because you are overrating the differential because you really want to go there? And that's a mentality thing. And I think that's a underappreciated aspect of FPL is the mentality factor of not losing your heads.
Yeah, I always say you have to maintain how you're playing. If you're going to play a template season, you can't let it go bad halfway through the season and switch, because then it'll go worse.
Yeah, maybe.
You can't play a differential season and give up halfway through the season.
Yeah,
like if you're going to be differential, be differential. If you're going to be template, be template.
Yeah, and you got to own it as well.
Yeah.
Like you got to own it. Like this, if you want to be a differential manager and you get a bad rank, that is the game. That is part of the game. I was saying that I never thought I'd have a year this bad. I never thought I would. Jeez.
Oh my god! It's only dawned on me today that this is my worst ever rank. I have one rank worse than this, which was the season where I played halfway. I started the game in like game week 15 or something. So that season I'm 7 million.
Yeah.
But every other season outside of that, I've been inside the top 300k.
Oh, man. Honestly, I've not had a worse season than this since I was like a teenager playing like game week 1 and then forgetting my password ready for game week 2. No chips. I remember like back then I didn't even know what a chip was. When someone told me, oh, you can press this button and you get extra points for different things. Like, what? How have I never known about this? Yeah, we're all an FPL noob at one point in our lives, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm back to being a noob. So, but next season, comeback season. Yeah,
We go again.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm like genuinely, but gonna enjoy a bit of time off as well. I think.
Well deserved.
Yeah, man.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
You work very hard.
Thank you, mate. You got any plans for the summer?
I am going to Barcelona.
Nice.
Very soon.
Your hometown.
My hometown. My second home.
Yep.
But it's going to be after the season finishes, obviously. So
yeah.
No football. I will watch England though.
Yep. England. You're a big England fan, actually. To be fair, aren't you?
I am. I follow them everywhere at the moment.
You like an England friendly, which is rare these days.
Well, so I'm trying to go to the World Cup.
So you're trying to collect those points.
So I need those points.
Yeah.
Exactly. So to be fair, I'm on track. I think the Euros is going to be sort of around the UK as well.
Yeah,
so
true.
The Euros, I'm almost guaranteed to get any game I want, but the World Cup
in the big USA,
I want to do a American tour.
That would be amazing
for the World Cup. The only problem is, I always go by myself. I need to find someone in the England travel club communities to go to these games with. But no, that's the plan. I'm gonna go to the game in Barcelona. I'm gonna end up missing the Forest game, unfortunately. It's not the Forest game. It's the England game in the Forest ground against Senegal. But that's fine. And other than that, I don't think I have too much else planned.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, how about you?
You've got a real job, so
I've actually got work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going on holiday on Friday. Going to Cyprus for like a couple of weeks, and then I'm coming back. And probably be looking for some part-time work somewhere. So if anyone's got a small business, I'll do anything. Maybe something outside. If anyone's got any gardening odd jobs, then they're doing mow the lawn. I do have bad hay fever, so I might be able to mow the lawn for about 10 minutes and then maybe have a little break. Something like that. But I've thought about going to work behind a bar for a month.
Abroad?
No.
Do it abroad?
In my village.
Do it abroad?
Do it abroad. I think I've missed my home too much. Yeah. Plus, I wouldn't be able to speak the language because I don't speak any other language.
You'd learn.
What, in a month?
I reckon do 2 months abroad.
Yeah. I could go work in an Irish bar, to be fair. Do a little Irish accent for a month. There you go. That's probably easier to learn than a different language, to be fair. It's going to be like, I'll still try and do a couple of videos, but I think it's going to be a little summer of Xbox. For me, a little summer of Xbox and then back on it. We're expecting FPL to drop like mid-July. Mid-July, early to mid-July. And then it'll be a full steam ahead indeed. So that's my plans. To play a lot of Xbox. Marvel Rivals, I've recently downloaded. It's all the rage. All the kids are playing it, including me now.
Marvel Rivals?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's like a It's like Overwatched, but Marvel.
I don't know what Overwatch is.
Okay. Well, some people may know that game, but actually, also, if you've got any other game recommendations, I would absolutely very much appreciate them because I obviously have some time to film now, to be honest. But there we go. That is the end.
Do we know what the final differential of the week was?
Yeah.
I think you beat me by about 12 points.
Yeah, so we scored 2 points each. I had Evan Nilsson. You had...
Martinelli?
Yeah, who you captained.
I did.
And you bought Evan Nilsson as well.
And I did Evan Nilsson.
Yeah. So you rated our differentials, but the universe did not because they both blanked, which means the final scores were me 163 points and you 151 points. So to be fair, you caught up very well.
If I picked Vardy in game week 37, I might have...
There would be there would have been like 2 points in it.
Yeah.
But Fran stole that one.
Fran stole that
one match from you. But there we go, guys. Thank you for joining us for this season of Stick to FPL. We haven't quite figured out what we're going to be doing for next year, but we will make sure we communicate that with you guys. But everyone who has watched over the year, singular year, we do genuinely, really massively appreciate this. It's been really fun to do this podcast with you each week, Sim.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for having me as well. But we've had some good laughs. It's been a good year. And we'll see about next year. What's going on? But there you go. Any final words for the final time this season? You had a good one last week, didn't you?
Damn, I should have saved that for this week.
Yeah, you should have saved that one for this week.
Yeah. Well,
you got any advice?
I do have advice.
Okay.
In life, don't listen to other people. Except for in FPL. And then you should stick to FPL. Thank you very much. And maybe we'll catch you next season.